Welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how to use an online utility called Coolors in order to pick colors for our data visualizations. So you either go to the website that was linked in the assignment, or we can just perform a search if we want. So let's say we will search for Coolors color generator. And then we can go here. So you can see that it's at coolors.co. When you show up, you can decide whether you want to have cookies or not. I know this website, I'm fine with it. It's going to give you an update with what's going on. You can look at that if you want. What we want to do is get to start the generator. So when I click start the generator, what it's going to do is load something. It's going to have a little tutorial if you want. We don't need that. You're going to be presented with 5 colors. So default is to have a 5-color color palette. And then if I press the space bar, it'll give me a new color palette. And you can just keep doing this as much as you want. And it'll just keep trying to pick color palettes that it thinks looks pretty good. Now, one thing, let's think about how we might do something for the thing that we're interested in. Well, maybe you decide you have a color palette that you want to build something around. Maybe what I want, we have 4 colors. And so maybe what I want is to build a color palette around colors I like. Like I kind of like this black bean color and this burnt umber color and this pumpkin color. Those 3 look pretty good. I'm looking for a 4th. I can press spacebar and it'll keep trying to give me other colors if I want. Or if I just want to look at one color at a time, I can get rid of one of these colors and then press enter and I'll just cycle through one of these. Like this charcoal actually looks pretty good. I kind of like this color palette. That was quick. I can lock all of these if I want. If I want to try to keep looking for new colors, I move over to the side and say plus, and then I'll get more colors and I can just keep doing this. You know, if you try to add too many, they'll try to make you pay to get it. But I also think trying to get more than 5 colors is sort of a fool's errand anyway. But we need 4 colors right now for what we're going to be working on, which is the pie chart. And I kind of like the 4 that I have here for reasons that will be discussed later. So let's just deal with what we have here. And let's think about what else we might change. For instance, let's say I like this charcoal. I wish it was just a little lighter. Well, what I can do is I can say view shades. And then I can move up or down inside of here. So maybe I want it like 3 shades lighter. And then I look at that and say, well, not really. Let's go back down. Maybe that was okay anyway. I could drag this around to like really think about what it's going to look like next to each of these things. You know, what else could I do? I could click on here to change the color. So maybe I thought instead of it being slightly lighter or slightly darker, what I really want is something that's a little bit less saturated. So the default is to give me this hex code for the color, but I can change that by selecting the picker and say, no, I really want control of something like HSB or HSL. So if I go to HSB, you can see I have saturation control. And so it was at 46, but I could bring this down a little bit to like, how about 35? Now it's a little bit more gray. I think maybe even all the way down to 30. It's just got a hint of this sort of color, maybe actually 31 for me. And yeah, that looks all right to me. And so now I have this color chosen using the hue, saturation, and brightness values. It always defaults to this hex value here. And that's actually going to be really useful for us as we move forward trying to use these colors. And the reason is that Plotly is going to accept hex value notation, and I can say copy hex. So I could just click hex. Now I would have that on a clipboard ready to just paste directly back into Plotly. And we'll see that actually in a video coming up. Another thing that we have to worry about when we're picking colors is making sure that these color palettes are colorblind friendly. And so one way to check that is with this color blindness tool. And when I click on this, what I'll have is a series of color blindnesses, and the program is simulating what the colors look like to somebody with these forms of color blindness. This one is no hue, and so this is essentially grayscale. And so this is a pretty reasonable palette where anyone is going to be able to tell these apart, except maybe in black and white, and that's because the grayscales here are very close together. If I come back out of this, I can drag this over here, and then I can go back and look at the no color, and you'll see these are like very similar to one another. And so an option I would have here is to lighten this up a little bit, or just accept that I don't expect this to be grayscale, and that all the other forms of color blindness is pretty easy to tell these apart. And so I think for me, that is fine. I'm kind of okay with accepting it for this particular use case that we're going to have, but depending on what you're trying to accomplish, that may be something that you want to change. The other thing is I could say apply, and what it will do is it will move these colors up here. So my color palette will become what was viewed under that form of color blindness. We're not going to do that now. Okay, something else is like, well, okay, we can see what happens if we had different color palettes. So let's go away from this from a second. Don't worry, we'll be able to get it back. And I could say 1, 2, 3, like, do these look okay under these different color blindnesses? And you'll see that like, it's a little bit harder for some of these actually. And in particular, if we had red and greens together, we would see a problem. But I say, no, really, I like this one before. I can go backwards to the plots that we had, or the color palette that we had before. Yeah, and this is just one tool for trying to find colors, and that's really all there is to it.